Good day. Welcome to another Adam Erickson's an Entrepreneur's Journey podcast. I'm Adam Erickson. I am a growth hacker. I am a business advisor. I'm a business coach, and I am an entrepreneur. And as always, I love introducing my small, mid-sized business clients to the world. Today, I have with me Mr. L.A. Walker, who I believe has a very interesting business called Current. And the reason why we're doing this podcast today is I believe a lot of clients out there should understand what Current is, what Current does, and who Mr. L.A. Walker is. So, L.A., introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Adam. L.A. Walker. I'm the founder and principal consultant with Current. I have over 15 years in the tech space industry and really focusing on helping businesses become operationally efficient, focusing on their margins and their go-to-market strategy.
Cool. So when you say the tech space, as my audience knows, I've done a few things in that space. What part of the tech space do we come out of?
So I come out of the cybersecurity space.
Okay. Well, it seems to be a relevant issue today. So very interesting with that. So when you were in this, obviously you noticed something within the business operations model and relation to how a company does financially. Did you spot a specific problem that you wanted to solve with Current, or was it just a general feeling as you looked at the market, I need to translate this from one area to another?
A little bit of both. What I would say is focusing on the impact that I was able to see with the business having operational efficiency and the impact that that has on their net income and their cash flow. Cash flow is king in any arena with any business, enterprise or small business. I started Current in 2020, unfortunately during the pandemic when we saw lots of small businesses closing. And then I connected two and two. I felt that it was a time for me to take the knowledge that I've gained in my career in the tech space and say, how can I develop tools to empower small businesses to essentially be mindful of their cash flow and their operating income?
Well, I'm certain for those of my audience who are bankers and financial folks, they're clapping right now with the word cash flow is king. Can you just give a brief description from your viewpoint when you interact with smaller businesses? How do you explain cash flow?
So what I essentially would do is explain cash flow is simply money is going into your business and money is going out, and then the timing of that, the terms that you have on that money, whether that's your credit or you're dealing with financiers or you're dealing with factories, whatever it may be. So just being mindful on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis. How's your business doing from an AR and AP perspective?
All right, let's go back. On this show, we try to explain what the acronyms are. So AR and AP, if I'm not an accountant, those translate into what?
So accounts payable are the essentially what your costs are, your debts that you have, the money that's going out of the business, contracts or payments that are due that you need to send out. Accounts receivable is money that is due to you that you need to collect, whether that's from sales or likewise.
Okay, so a lot of my clients being small to mid-sized businesses, they didn't really factor on a lot of growth, and before they know it, they're 10, 15 employees, right? They're struggling with QuickBooks, these type of things. They may or may not have someone head of sales. They may or may not have HR, these type of functions. So for the businesses that you work with, what would you say is their general level of sophistication and understanding what is our operational efficiency?
I would generally say that most people believe that they have a better understanding than they really do. And then when you really peel back and start asking questions, where's this data live? What systems do you have? How often do you track this? You start to figure and find that a lot of people really don't do it on any regular basis. And if they are aware of it, if they do track it, it's not consistent. And that's the important part of it. It's the consistency of measuring and tracking the things that are important to your business.
Okay, now I know coming out of Silicon Valley, one of the more interesting benchmarks was revenue per employee head, right? So a company was making $5 million, they had 5 employees, so the business was making $1 million per employee with that. With Current, do you have certain benchmarks for different sort of industries that you work with that when you engage with business owners, et cetera, you can kind of reference and show them a point where you're probably here and you need to be here as per your industry?
Yeah, absolutely. And per industry, there are some, well, I would say metrics or formulas that are a little bit more pertinent, but some that are pretty common across all are what is your customer acquisition cost, right? Your total sales and marketing cost divided by the number of new customers you acquire. Another one is your customer lifetime value, right? So what is your average order value times that purchase frequency times that average customer lifespan? A third one is about sales. So understanding your sales funnel. So sales velocity equals your pipeline value divided by how long it takes you on average to sell something. And the fourth one I will give you is conversion rate. If you're a business that has to get business, new clients, have leads, and that forth, you want to be looking at your lead conversion. So essentially is the number of conversions you get that lead to some type of sale or business divided by the total amount of leads times 100. So what we would do is essentially figure out your industry, your business, where you are, and your growth and your goals, and then figure out what are the most relevant KPIs and metrics for you to track.
All right. Well, you mentioned the word KPIs. I assume within the context of this call, it's interchangeable with the word metrics, right? As long as, I mean, my clients know my favorite phrase is if we can monitor it, we can measure it. If we can measure, we can modify those type of things. So let's just say I hear about current and I say, okay, LA sounds interesting. I don't know if my business is super efficient. I would hope it is, but I give you a call and I'm like, LA, okay, I'm interested to see where I may be lacking and therefore what I'm missing out on. So what happens when I give you a call?
So what happens when you give me a call? I'm going to be delighted to work with you. I'm going to set up some time to do a discovery call. That's where we start to figure out to get a little bit of sense of your business, the industry, to build out what I would consider a business profile, to get a sense of where you are today. And then from there, a second part is to do a tech stack audit to figure out what tools are you using to support your business. And then from there, we will move forward to see, okay, does it make sense? Am I the right person to help you achieve your goals?
So do I have to have sophisticated technology within my organization to engage with current? Because I probably got someone familiar with Excel. I may have a manufacturing execution system. I may have living on email and a few other things, but if I'm a 10-year-old manufacturer, I might have some software and some PCs that are a little bit dated, because again, that's not the major focus of my business. What level of sophistication does a business need to have in order for you to be able to meaningfully evaluate where they're at?
So I would say that I'm flexible with the framework of where you are in the sophistication of your tech stack, right? For a business like that, it's more about where you need to get to. And where you're starting today, we'll figure out, okay, where does the data, where's the information that you're tracking live in? So that's part of the audit is the tools, systems, places, whether that's a spreadsheet, a sophisticated tool, where is it living and how are you using that information? And then we can work on, is it appropriate? What's the timeline to maybe upgrade or make your business technology more sophisticated as you hopefully reach your goals in the next 90 days.
All right. Well, having engaged with different levels of consultant, everything from what used to be the big six, now it's the big four, down to more specialized consultancies, and having run sales teams and had many offers for people to come in and do audits, the first question I always have is, do I think there's a need? Second, how long will it take? Third, how many resources do I have to apply, cash and or personnel, right? And at the end of it, what do I get? So explain to me with current kind of that process at a small, mid-sized business, if they want to engage, how do you address those points?
So, and those are fair points because, like you said, and I have limited resources from time and people, and really not trying to disrupt the day-to-day business operations by working with me in current. So really what it is first part is the people alignment, getting a sense of understanding of who your sales team is. Do you have a marketing team? Do you have some type of customer success team? And then make sure that they're all aligned on the same revenue goals and incentives. So that's the first part of the audit is understanding the people. And then from there, it's okay. what is the processes that your people operate when. And if it's you or as an employee, maybe an ops person that you have, if you don't, maybe it's a group call setting to get an understanding of based on those teams that you have or the people, what is the unified customer journey that your business has? What are the workflows that your business does? Because every business, whether they know it or not, or they have the procedures or processes mapped out, every business in the day to day is actually doing some type of processes, whether they are knowingly or recorded or not. And then also then it's okay, how can we optimize the communication and handoff between these teams? So it's about process integration. And that's the important piece. And then you figure out what tools you would need to support that. So not necessarily focusing on the tools, but focusing on the process, then figuring out what's the most appropriate tools for your business to help align and support those processes. And that's where the technology piece comes in.
Okay, well, again, for a lot of my clients that, on this slide, you have the word scale. And so a lot of my clients, as they're growing, right, the level of knowledge as far as tools and what to be able to do, that's why they come to organizations like Business Impact Northwest to get guidance on how to do certain things. But I guess the question I would have for you, after you do your audit, right, and you present a proposal, et cetera, I call this the punchline slide, right? Earlier in the podcast, you mentioned the magical words, cash flow is king. What is current providing me that's going to be a lasting thing, right? I don't want to come in, have an audit, you give me something and it's good for 30 days, meaning after 30 days, I stop using it because it no longer seems to be relevant, right? So what's kind of the punchline when current comes in and does this? What are some of those metrics that you're looking to achieve for your clients?
So the bottom line metric is, after working with me, are you seeing a reduced in waste of money falling through the cracks, whether that's not collecting money on time, not having the right terms, not having correct pricing? So as we've gone through, we looked at your alignment, your teams, making sure those are operating efficiently. We looked at your processes between the teams and understanding your workflows and how your business is operating to support the goals that you have. You have the right KPIs, metrics that you're tracking in order to make sure that you're going in the right direction. And then from there, it's an understanding of, now that you have a customized framework of, this is how we should be aligned. These are our processes cross-departmentally. These are the KPIs we're using as a business to track. And these are the tools and systems that we have in place. Once you have that custom framework for your business moving forward, you should be able to track those KPIs and say, since I work with Current, since I work with LA, these KPIs that we decided that we would track to see the efficiency or the effectiveness of this consultation, right? Whether that's your net income, your cash flow, your customer churn rate, your customer life cycle, lifetime value. So if we see an increase or decrease, whether appropriate in those said metrics, right? That's where I get excited. That's where people get excited, because it's tangible, because you take a baseline of, okay, where are you at today based on the metrics that we can quantify? And then the ones that are important, after we've gone through these processes over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to a quarter, I would say within 90 days, you should be able to see some tangible impact on your bottom line.
Well, one of the things that interests me from the first discussions we've had is, for me as a business owner, right, I want to wake up in the morning, I'll look at my phone and I want a simple dashboard, right? I want someone tells me what's the state of my company, my operation, what's the state of my bank account, right? Within those, is this something that when you install these procedures, et cetera, that's something that Current can provide, whether I'm the head of sales or you're the head of finance or you're the owner of the company, where you will work to provide them with tools that on a daily basis, they can keep their fingers real time on the state of their business?
So that's absolutely an option that could be part of it that we could talk through, is the deliverable of a dashboard ongoing to support your team and business, and understanding that the appropriate person to monitor, update, and make sure the data is staying fresh and clean. So there may be a little bit of training, understanding what's the tool platform, or that's Tableau or Power BI. So it depends on the sophisticated level of the business and how they will operate and use that dashboard. But if we get to the point where the business and it's appropriate, we definitely could build something out that can help support them in that endeavor.
Well, and I think for a lot of businesses, I pointed out throughout the years, like transparency of information allows for the best decisions to be made, but you need the most up-to-date information at that point in time. And as they say, sunlight is the best disinfectant, right? That if something's hidden and I don't know about it, then I can't affect it. So that's where, I think for my customers and for others out there looking at current, kind of the end state of the engagement is, if today you don't have your fingers on the pulse of your daily business, after our engagement, you're going to have that. But more importantly, then in engaging with current and saying, look, our goal is to decrease operating inefficiency by this percent or increase our margins based upon delivery times, collections, all that by this percent. That to me would be a very meaningful thing where you're constantly now striving, looking at your operations to get incrementally better every day. So
Exactly.
your customers look at your engagement as kind of that's the end state, as opposed to the concern about, oh, yeah, it's going to take me, a month of engagement to get here and there. Do you always keep focused on what is the art of the possible?
The art of the possible, and it's about the growth and the understanding and the empowerment of the owner or the small business to continually improve, scale, and grow efficiently, so that the infrastructure, tools, and the framework that they're left with should empower them to continue to see improvements, or they should at least know what metrics they should be looking at and tracking to understand, like you said, that they'll have a much better understanding of the visibility under the hood of their business to feel more confident in their decision-making process and their purchasing process.
Well, you said the magical words again, cash flow is king. So for those out there that are looking to have a discussion with you to understand, is their cash flow lacking? Can it be better? And what are those factors that would do it? How do they get in touch with you?
So a great way to get in touch with me is you go to the website, currentco.com, and schedule a 30-minute discovery call with me. I'm always open and happy to meet with you, talk, get an understanding of business, and the best way I could potentially help you. I also have LinkedIn. You can see posts that I push, some of my relevant experience as well, and also YouTube, where I keep videos if you want to see some of the content that we've had historically, and follow us as well, and just keeping in touch with some of the work that we're going to be doing in the future.
Awesome. Well, LA, I appreciate our conversation this morning. I hope the audience has some relevant questions for you going forward. And once again, anything to help small entrepreneurs keep cash growing in the bank helps everyone. The rising tide lifts all boats, and the tide of cash flow is the best tide there is. So LA, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing your business grow.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adam, for the time, and appreciate it.